Hello. Um, so, uh, I had my um, feedback from my assessment for autism, and it did show autism level one. Um, there's three levels according to how much support you need. So it's kind of akin to what they used to say high functioning or Asperger's. Uh, my main issues revolve around communication, um, both giving it and receiving it. Um, so I'd always known something was wrong, something was different than between me and everybody else that I ran across. Um, family, friends. I just knew. And I knew, I was labeled as very shy, very quiet, and too sensitive. And, um, and it turns out that's not really what I was at all. I'd also been called rude, ungrateful, insolent, uninterested, bored, and I wasn't. Um, it all has to do with I tend to walk around with a blank face, and it, emotions just don't. I feel them, but they just don't come out. And when I try to force something, I I fumble quite hardly, and then that's when I am like I find out someone's like very unhappy with not exactly what I said, but the tone. I mean, yeah, when I was just like trying to be compassionate once to a coworker, it's like blurted out something, and it was the opposite of. It was just awkward, It was just really awkward. That one stands out to me. There's also the just not knowing what to do when how to respond when other people are trying to give cues like flirting. Um, I had a friend. She was actually my girlfriend then because I thought I was gay, but I'm not. I'm asexual. Um, and and I'll tell you why that happened. Why I thought I was gay because I was still in, that stage when you have friends and you're like, we're best friends, best friends, tight, third grade, fourth grade. I mean, I was still there. And everybody matures in adolescent teens and stuff in college and start having relationships. And I thought that my desire to have an exclusive relationship with a female meant I was gay, but I was still in that this is my best friend kind of situation. And so I had at one time one of those. I had a few. Um, and it wasn't anything more than holding hands and stuff, but um, I, because I wasn't interested in sex. So, anyway, her car caught on fire. It was like her baby. She had like built this thing, and it was a metallic blue Firebird, and it caught on fire. and she was sitting on the curb just sobbing across the street from me. And her friend that I knew only as her girlfriend, and was like just standing there staring at her. And I mean, I understood that she was upset about this, but I didn't know I was supposed to do something to help until he said, "You need to go over there and comfort her. Like, what's wrong with you?" And I was like, "Oh, I would just like stand there like a stiff rod and crossed the street and sat down next to her. I didn't know what to do after that. I didn't understand. Anything I understand is what I have witnessed other people do, or the mistake I have made, and it was clear that it was a mistake. And and one time I didn't want to be me so much that there was the same girl. She was, besides when her car was involved, but she was very confident, and but at the same time pretty, and but had a very unique look. Short spiky hair, round glasses, dressed a certain way. And we had broken up, and I wanted to not be me so badly. I wanted to be a confident person that knew what to do in situations, like I should have by that time. I mean, I was 17. So I changed my appearance completely to reflect hers. It's kind of creepy. Very creepy. And I just pretended to be somebody else. It was really hard and felt very wrong, but I still was not good at communication. And I also got my feelings hurt very easily, and I don't so much now, but I did for a very, very long time, till recently, I would say, because because people would say things and I wouldn't understand that they were joking, or that they were commiserating, or just in any other way than being mean or insulting. But that's how I would take it. I mean, I wouldn't really understand, and that seemed to be my go-to impression. If I felt like a conversation was awkward and we stopped communicating, like walked away or hung up the phone, it's almost like I don't. It's a little conundrum, because I do prefer to be alone, only because it's so hard to understand people outside of this house. But at the same time, I want people to like me. I want to have friends, but I don't. I swore attempting friendship away when I was after college. I had a really, really, really bad thing happen, and it had completely to do with autism, communication, but I didn't know that then. And I just was like, I give up. I'm better off alone. And it's like barely just have as little contact in as I can. And um, I have two people that I do consider friends, but we don't like go hang out. We don't go to get coffee or talk on the phone. But we've had experiences together working at the animal shelter when I worked there. And so, like, I had in common with the vet that did the animal shelter work, because I understood a lot of the, you know, words and concepts, the medical stuff. And and then she was going through something with her son had been diagnosed with bipolar, and she knew that I had that and was very upset and wanted, had some questions. And by that time, I had learned my lesson from the burning car, and I saw that she was crying. And for the first time in my life, I did the appropriate thing. I offered a hug. I gave her a hug. And so now with I don't work there anymore, dog trainer, but I do go to her for some situations I run into as a dog trainer and other things, chit chat, which I learned in nursing school. I think chit chat is stupid and useless. That's where some of the rude part comes in. I don't see anything wrong with it, but apparently other people do when you just walk up and ask a question to get information. This person has this information. I'm going to go to them. This, ask the question, get the information, turn around, walk away. Not even a thank you, I guess. So that's where I got a lot of the rude comments. But anyway, so I consider her my friend. And I think that she would like us to be more friendly, because she has said, I have gone to her house once. She asked if I wanted to have coffee, and I decided to try it out. And I walk around, and she later said, we need to get together again sometime. And I'm like, oh God, please no. But there's another part of me that's like, maybe you should, like, hey, you want to, chat. And I wanted to, but I don't do it well. So, and I don't want to ruin our relationship, because I also get a little preferential treatment with my dogs at that vet. So, and my other friend I met at the animal shelter when I started assisting with the dog training classes. And we did what's called a SAFER assessment from 2012 to 2019, I think. Excuse me. I don't know. It was like a long time. And every Friday, we get the new dogs, new arrivals out, do a specific assessment to see if there are any hidden behaviors we needed to know about. And we got to know a lot. We learned how to do it together and went through the training and everything, and for years. And then she got into yoga, which we were both in a yoga class. I had stopped going because one day I had a panic attack. I was way in the back of the room and the exit was on the other side, and like I got tunnel vision and it just got longer and longer. It was awful, but she does private yoga, and even before my diagnosis, she knew I had an eye contact issue, and so she does it so that I don't have to give her eye contact. She'll like face the other way. And so really it's just around dogs, these two people, my friends. I have online friend, which I kind of, Linaire, I haven't reached out to in a while. Everything's been on hold while this process with the autism was going on. What the assessment consists, first of all, is a lot of people have to wait on a waiting list. I didn't, because when I was on disability, when I got disability, I had earned too much money before as working to qualify for Medicaid, so I got Medicare. And I did a telehealth thing, and they took Medicare. Their neuropsychologists do primarily for seniors who are worried about their memory and having issues with their memory, and they do that's primarily what they do. It's called mind memory, or memory mind, and but there is some that do adult late diagnosed autism, and they sent me on the computer a bunch of questionnaires, multiple choice, like yes, no, always, never, those kinds of things. And then you put comments at the bottom, and got a bunch of those. And they also get information from, if there is someone close to you that's known you as a child, and knows you well now. And then because they took Medicare, it didn't cost me much at all, compared to somewhere else. One place was going to be $900 and something. Some places it's $2,000 if you go in person. But the telehealth, they set a date for your interview and cognitive tests, and they send you this packet in the mail, and they send a tripod for you to put your camera on, and that way the person who's doing the cognitive, like, they were checking me for autism and ADHD because my brother was diagnosed with ADD, and they determined from my assessment I do have some ADHD, which I didn't think at all. But I'll have to learn more about it. First, there was the interview on Zoom, and they had already seen all my information from all those online things. And so the whole process took like 4 hours. the interview, and then the cognitive was a different person. And that's when you put your phone, you're talking on the camera, but they also have your paper aimed, your phone aimed at the paper, so they can see your answers on the paper and do a screenshot. And you know that when they give you these tests, and they are not always looking for what you think they're looking for. Like, there's all these shapes and numbers and words and stuff. And you're thinking, oh, they're checking my memory, they're checking this, but they're really checking to see, can you follow directions, or how quickly do you forget the directions and things like that. I knew that, but I didn't know. I knew that happened, but I didn't know if that's what I was going through. So it was hard. Not the process, but the tests, the cognitive tests were hard. And then they finished that up. I didn't have to mail anything back in or whatnot, but they take all that information and they said they show it to the doctor. I don't know who the doctor is, but then today was my feedback session, and it was really just about 40 minutes. And they told me, what they found, why they, the things that pointed towards the autism and ADHD. A touch of it is how she put it. And they were all very friendly and professional. I was very impressed. Highly recommend. Pleasant experience. I didn't have the panic of being in a strange place. I didn't have to travel anywhere, and I live in the middle of nowhere. And I will be Monday. They send the final report in an PDF email that is protected, so people can't get into your business. See the results if you don't want them to. And so how did I feel when she said that? I actually had to ask her to say it again, so I was sure that she had said that, because I was about 30 to 40% sure they were going to say autism, and then the rest I was sure they were going to say, no, we think you really just have bad social anxiety. That's where I was at. It was one of those. And but anyway, and she kind of told me the things, and it just, some of the things went over my head. I'll get them better when I read it, because I have trouble with communication, and she was communicating with me, and I could only get so much. And I did have her to have my mom come when we were done and sit and talk with her, so she could tell her, because I needed at least one other person to hear this from a professional. And then my mom was like, this kind of makes sense. Teachers just said you were really quiet and shy and too sensitive. But maybe, she goes, no, it makes sense now. And I was like, a part of me was, I guess if you could mash these two emotions together, sad and angry, that it's called I hear it called the lost generation, or the missing generation. I think it's mostly termed the lost generation. Uh, because all the research had been done and it had only been recognized in white males. So, and it turns out females get it too. Don't get it. You're born with it. It's not a psychiatric like bipolar. It's a developmental. You are born with it. like, um, so, um, and ADHD maybe. I don't know. I can't remember what I was gonna say. Um, at all. I have no idea what I was gonna say. Sometimes I have to backtrack. Um, my response. Oh, sad and angry. Because I had been bullied and teased forever. um, so bad through school, all school. Pranks pulled on me. You're so gullible. People would just keep me around because they could play jokes on me and I wouldn't get it. I wouldn't understand. And I'd cry. And I'm like, God, you're just so sensitive. You don't have to be such a baby. Well, quit being mean to me. Like they'd tell me something and I'd respond to it, and then all of a sudden everybody's laughing and I'm looking around. I don't know why these kids are laughing. And they're like, you're so funny. you believed me. Well, why wouldn't I? That would just make me cry, and then they'd call me a baby or whatever. But I'm talking elementary school, junior high, high school, just miserable. And could my life have been a little bit better if it had been if I'd gotten some assistance earlier than 53? So I'm gonna have to come to terms with. That's why you see the pictures of me as a very young child. I'm gonna have to come to terms with that child that didn't get it. Just didn't get it. Just didn't get the world that she was in, and didn't understand why all these nuances about communication. And when I had this best friend in the 3rd and 4th grade, she was like, I used her to navigate through life, and she wouldn't let anybody pick on me, and then she moved. And that's when I really lost it, about 4th grade. It was about 4th grade. I started having really weird outbursts in school, throwing my books up in the air and crawling under a table and barking like a dog. I mean, you'd think that would warrant a note or something home. But and the temper tantrum I have even as an adult that I attributed to mixed episodes, it's bipolar irritability. Now we are like, well, that might have been autistic meltdowns. So anyway, it's level 1, so that what that means is that goes by support level. How much support do you need? 1, 2, and 3. So I'm 1. It's there. mainly in the communication thing, but I also have very, 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 very rigid schedules. Um, and the, I don't know, the, oh, and the sensory issues. I do have those. I have pictures of me doing my hand movements are like this, or my nails. If I want an auditory, they're called stimming. I've done that all my life. Um, I will try to, when I do this video tomorrow and post it, I'm going to try to put pictures, I think. Hold on. Maybe. Okay. I don't know if you'll be able to see these. This is just a cheater's easy way to go. But I'm doing it right there. And then as a teen, I'm doing it again. But I've done it. I've known I've done it all my life. It started out like this, and then went to this. And I also like rock. I also, when I get stuck and I'm really busy, I'll go like this. And when I talk to people, I go like this. And then when they stop talking to me, everything stops. It's really a little fascinating. I have more pictures that are examples of that might be. This is me looking completely blank at a wedding. This is me in a crowd and not participating. They're all looking one way, I'm just like in another. And then when I started to notice that people were staring at my hands, I started holding them tight. There's I know that could be anybody in any picture doing anything, but there's me dancing in a club alone. This is pretty much a picture. This is what I pretty much look like all day. This is the blank sort of look I have. This is, now when I go to the Renaissance Festival, I dress up and I'm a character. I am no longer me. And for some reason that makes a difference. So I look a little more alive, a little happier when I'm May underfoot. Here's me, and this was a big crowd, and this is family. They like big crowds. They're very touchy-feely. It's sensory overload, kaboom, awful, and I look like I'm just absolutely terrified right there. And this one, I look like I'm caught in the headlights. I'm just obviously not comfortable with this situation. And this is an example of, this is me having a good time. I look like I'm pissed off about being there. It was a museum. But I was actually having I really liked the museum. It was the Ford Museum in Detroit. I think it was Detroit, but I really liked it. I was really having a good time, and I look like I'm pissed off or something. This is me at the shelter. And this is when I learned that I really liked headphones. I didn't know about autism and headphones. I just knew it felt really good because we would wear them where the dogs were, where the kennel was. And I started wearing them all the time, and nobody would have a question about it. I just, would go like this if somebody was talking to me and then put it back on. And I just loved it. With the first time I put them on, I was like, oh, this feels so good. And so, that was, I'm just talking about like up front at the desk. It's not noisy at all, but it just felt so good. It feels like how I feel when I go swimming. I don't like swim laps. I swim underwater because it's silent and I feel supported and enveloped in warm water. And I do somersaults in the water, and backflips in the water. I like that sensation, and that's what you call stimming, self stimulation behavior. I did not know that, but that's what I'm doing. This is what I think I am really like. This is the only person that I really enjoy getting hugs from. This is my biological father. He gives really tight hugs, tight, warm hugs. Everybody else is too light. The touch is too light. So I grudgingly hug people when I see them, if they, this side of the family. This side of my family barely touch. If it is, it's not, there's no meaning behind it. And this is me masking. What's masking? Masking is when an autistic person has come up with ways to figure out how to behave around other people, but is not real. It's masking, wearing a mask. This is different. I have the same outfit, but it's a different visit. This is me with pink and blue hair, and I am masking. I am smiling just like them, because when I'm there, I have that smile. So I had some others, but those were the ones that really stood out to me. I wish we would have had video. Motorcycles made me, as a child, when I heard a motorcycle, I would run screaming to the first person and climb up them. So I just walk around. I bought some headphones now, and I wear them today daily. Like, walk around the house with them on. It feels so good. I have problems with my clothes. This is cashmere, so. And this is a picture of my cake. We had an autism cake. And my mom had to make it special because I can't eat fructose. So she had to make the frosting herself. So that's my autism cake. It's little M&Ms on there. And so now I have all these fidget toys that I put aside. I was going to wait until I was diagnosed. If not, I was going to donate them. But I indulged, and now I can use them without feeling like a wannabe. That's not the word I want, though. Fraud. I can wear the puzzle thing. Some people with autism don't like that, though. I do. So, and this is one of my favorite light spinners. But anyway, in fact, these little things have turned out to be my favorite. I've been twiddling with it the whole time I've been talking to you, which I did before. I just didn't have things that were sold specifically for fidgeting. So I'm going to have to do some more research and reading and videos, watch videos about ADHD especially, because I don't know jack squat about that specifically. Um, so, anyway, I'm going to end this because it's way long and I want to go to bed. I have to train a dog tomorrow, and then I'm going swimming. Excuse me. And so, good night to y'all.